The rain hadn't let up in days. Somewhere in the windswept hills of Maine, behind wrought iron gates and a facade of American wealth and legacy, the Thorne estate stood like a relic from another time, imposing, untouchable, and, as of last Tuesday, blood-stained. The morning fog coiled like a noose around the mansion's spires, muffling the sirens and the murmurs that whispered about unexplained events inside. At the center of it all was a death that should have never happened. Or maybe one that had already happened and returned. They called him the Golden Son, Cameron Thorne, charming, whip-smart, and heir to the family's publishing empire. A man who knew how to play the room, flip a scandal into a feature, and mask damage behind dazzling teeth and well-tailored suits. Everyone loved Cameron. Everyone except the person who left him face down in the rose garden, eyes wide, mouth frozen mid-scream. The weird part? He had texted someone 5 minutes after the coroner declared him dead. Enter Elena Pierce, the self-made tech mogul turned reclusive sister-in-law, whose startup secrets might be worth killing for. Her words are calculated, her loyalty paper-thin, and her phone is full of unsent messages. Then there's Grayson Thorne, Cameron's younger brother, a former piano prodigy with a reputation for disappearing for years at a time. He returned, the night before the murder, dirt under his nails and a cryptic look in his eyes. Natalie Quinn, the family's longtime housekeeper, sees more than she lets on. She's quiet, nearly invisible, but has a steel gaze that can cut through lies faster than any detective. And Julian Maddox, the charming yet jittery fiancé of Cameron, has a past the Thornes never approved of, and a nervous habit of whispering names in his sleep. One of those names wasn't Cameron's, but it's Detective Benoit Blanc who arrives just as the estate begins to buckle under the weight of its dark secrets. He's older now, wiser, wearier, and perhaps even haunted. Yet nothing sharpens. His mind like a murder that doesn't make sense. The body tells one story, the timeline another, and the mansion itself is practically screaming. As Blanc peels back the glossy layers of the Thorne family, he discovers a trail of family mystery spanning decades, a fire no one talks about, a trust fund quietly drained, a childhood game that may have been more than pretend. Every smile hides a motive. Every motive unravels a piece of the truth. And yet, every answer breeds another question. There are unexpected twists. A security cam that glitched precisely at 2:13 a.m. A bedroom that was locked from the inside, and a confession that no one believes, not even the one who gave it. But the most disturbing piece of the puzzle? Cameron Thorne had been declared legally dead 7 years ago, in a boating accident that left nothing but wreckage and a single bloodied shoe. So what was he doing alive at the family reunion? And who made sure he didn't leave it? Because sometimes the dead don't stay buried. Sometimes the dead come home. And sometimes the dead wake up. Who killed the man who was already dead? Coming soon to Netflix. The storm hadn't let up. It howled through the trees like a chorus of the damned, slapping rain against the stained glass windows of the Thorne estate. Inside, the old house groaned under its own weight, as if protesting the secrets it had been made to carry for far too long. Detective Benoit Blanc stood in the atrium, staring at the oil portrait of Cameron Thorne that loomed above the staircase. The man had been declared dead once, and now he was dead again, except this time there was a body. This time there was no doubt. But it wasn't just the corpse that gnawed at Blanc's instinct. It was the expressions of those still living. Too calm, too rehearsed, too aware. He turned to face the assembled group. Elena Pierce crossed her arms, perfectly composed in a charcoal cashmere turtleneck and designer boots that hadn't seen a drop of rain. Her almond eyes scanned the detective coolly. "We're all just as shocked as you are, Detective. Cameron's been gone for years. And yet here he was," Blanc said, southern drawl soft but pointed. "Alive, breathing, standing on that very balcony not 24 hours ago, toasting a reunion that none of y'all truly wanted. Ain't that curious?" Grayson Thorne smirked and sipped his whiskey, ignoring the glare from Elena. He slouched. In the wingback chair, like the weight of the family name meant nothing to him. "You're assuming someone here killed him," he said. "Maybe the past just caught up to him. Cameron had enemies long before we buried him the first time." Voice piped up from the back of the room. "And which version of Cameron are we talking about?" All heads turned to Monica Wade, the family's in-house legal counsel and childhood friend. Blonde bob, sharp blazer, and a notebook clutched to her chest like a shield. The sweet-talking philanthropist? Or the man who blackmailed half his board members into silence? The silence that followed wasn't denial, it was memory. Blank arched a brow. "Blackmail, you say? That sounds like a motive, Miss Wade." "I'm just saying what you're all too polite to admit," Monica replied, stepping forward. "This house, this family has a dark past. We all know it. Cameron was the center of it. And if someone in this room had reason to finish what the boat wreck started, well, it wouldn't surprise me one bit." Outside, lightning cracked, briefly illuminating the grounds. In that flicker, Blanc caught sight of Natalie Quinn, the housekeeper standing at the far end of the hall. Her eyes weren't on the group, they were on the third-floor corridor, watching, listening, and maybe remembering. Blanc excused himself and followed. "Natalie," he said softly as he approached. "You were here when the first death happened, weren't you?" She nodded slowly, never quite meeting his gaze. "I've been here through all of it. And that man in the garden last night, that wasn't the Cameron I knew." "What do you mean?" She leaned closer. "The way he walked, the way he spoke, it was off, like someone pretending to be him. But the face, it was him. Or at least it looked like him." Blanc stared. "Are you suggesting there were two Camerons?" "I'm suggesting," Natalie said, "that one of them might still be alive." The detective's mind ticked like a grandfather clock. This wasn't just a family drama anymore. This was identity theft at a Shakespearean level. And if what Natalie implied was true, this unfolding mystery had just doubled back on itself. Back in the drawing room, the family had broken into factions. Elena stood near the fireplace, whispering furiously to Monica. Julian sat apart, wringing his hands, eyes darting toward the hallway every few seconds. And Grayson? He was now in deep conversation with Reverend Daniel Hartley, an old family friend, recently brought in for Cameron's memorial service. Hartley's Bible peeked out of his coat, but so did a glint of steel. A concealed handgun holster barely visible beneath the jacket. Blanc re-entered. "Tell me something, Reverend. You knew Cameron before the boating accident, yes?" Hartley hesitated. "Yes, I baptized him when he was a boy, and after his miraculous return, I kept my distance." Something didn't sit right. Blanc tilted his head. "Such as?" Hartley's jaw tightened. "He knew things I told him in confession, but I never told Cameron those things. I told his twin." The room exploded in shock. "What the hell are you saying?" Elena snapped. "Cameron didn't have a twin." "Are you sure?" Blanc asked softly. "Or did the Thorne family hide one more secret, even from its own blood?" Now the walls themselves seemed to breathe. Questions churned behind every set of eyes. If Cameron had a twin, one raised in the shadows, fed on resentment and lies, what had he come back for? Revenge, justice, or something far more sinister? But before anyone could answer, a shriek echoed from upstairs. Everyone rushed to the second floor. Natalie stood outside Cameron's former bedroom, pointing. "It's open," she gasped. "It was locked just minutes ago." Blanc pushed through the door, and what he saw made his blood run cold. Written in smeared red letters across the mirror was a single phrase. "I died once. I won't die again." On the floor was a burner phone, its screen still lit with an incoming call from Cameron Thorne. And somewhere in the house, someone was laughing. Who is pretending to be the dead man? And who's next to join him? The truth is buried deep, and it's clawing its way out. Streaming soon. Only on Netflix. The mirror message still glowed under the bathroom's flickering lights, the red letters dripping like fresh blood. "I died once. I won't die again." Detective Blanc stared at it, jaw clenched. There were no footprints on the thick Persian rug, no smudges on the door handle, and yet The room had been locked from the inside just moments before. The burner phone buzzed again on the marble floor, vibrating like a trapped insect. "Who has Cameron's number saved?" Blank asked, turning to the family now gathered behind him. No one spoke. "You're telling me no one here recognizes it?" he pressed. "That phone is calling from a line registered to a man who's lying dead in your garden." Elena stepped forward, her voice sharper now. "Could this be some twisted joke, a hacker, maybe someone trying to extort us?" "Joke?" Grayson scoffed. "You think someone killed our brother twice for laughs?" Monica Wade interjected, scanning. The burner phone, no signal. Whatever sent this message came from a blocked relay. Offshore. "This isn't just family secrets, someone's running an op here." Julian, trembling, grabbed the edge of the bed frame. What if it wasn't Cameron at all? What if this is all staged? Blanc turned slowly. Staged? By whom? Julian opened his mouth to answer, but the words caught in his throat. He pointed instead to a crack along the baseboard. It was small, barely visible, a seam in the wood. Blanc knelt, running, his fingers along it. A panel slid open with a soft creak, revealing a dark passage leading down into the walls. Natalie gasped. "I never knew this was here." "Oh," Blanc whispered, "but someone did." Inside the crawl space, the air was thick with dust, and the scent of damp wood and old perfume clung to every corner. At the end of the narrow tunnel, hidden behind another concealed panel, was a second room, mirror image to Cameron's. Same layout, same furniture, same wallpaper, but covered in photographs. Every one of them was of the Thorne family, taken from odd angles, as if through peepholes. Some were recent, others were decades old. Grayson's voice cracked as he entered. This is sick." And then Natalie, pale as snow, pointed to a photograph pinned to the far wall. An image of Cameron as a child, standing beside another boy. Identical, wearing matching sailor suits. The twin. "Why wouldn't the family talk about him?" Monica asked, her voice low. "Why bury a whole person?" Elena's silence was deafening. Blanc turned to her. "Elena, what do you know about the second child?" She hesitated. Then her mask cracked. There was a rumor that Cameron had a brother, but their father sent him away. Said he was unstable, violent, dangerous. I thought it was just gossip. But gossip, Blanc said grimly, is often built from bones. Suddenly, a thunderous crash echoed through the house, followed by the shrill sound of the security alarm. Everyone bolted into the hall. Downstairs, one of the massive front windows had been shattered inward. Cold air rushed in. On the rug near the shards was a wet footprint. Bare, human, but not fresh. Is someone inside the house? Julian's voice shook. No, Blanc murmured, narrowing his eyes. Someone never left. Just then the lights flickered and went out. The mansion sank into darkness. In the pitch black, panic bloomed. "Elena?" Monica called. "Julian, where are you?" Grayson lit a match. "Natalie?" He turned slowly in the dim glow. "Where's Natalie?" A soft laugh echoed from somewhere upstairs. Not one of theirs. Blanc moved quickly, his voice calm but commanding. "Everyone into the drawing room. Do not split up." As the group huddled into the large, candlelit space, Elena's phone buzzed. A message. Unknown. Sender. "You can't hide what you did. The house remembers." She dropped the phone. "Okay," Monica snapped, voice brittle with fear. "Someone has to talk. This isn't just about a twin or a fake death. This is vengeance, and it's coming from inside this house." Blanc agreed. "This is more than murder. This is a reckoning." Then, from the corner, Reverend Hartley, who had gone strangely quiet, spoke up, his voice hollow. "The boy, the other one, he didn't die in the fire like we were told. I saw him a month ago in the chapel. He said he was coming home." Silence fell like a guillotine. "You what?" Elena turned to him. "I thought it was a ghost," the Reverend muttered. "Or my conscience, but he was real. Same face, same eyes, but different, hollow." He said he was here to wake up the dead man. I thought he meant Cameron. Blanks. Blood turned to ice. There was danger lurking behind every wall in this house, and now, a shocking revelation unraveled everything. Someone had been planning this return, watching, waiting, and it wasn't just revenge. It was ritual. Back in the secret twin room, a hidden drawer had opened, triggered by the blackout. Inside, an old leather-bound notebook sat atop a stack of letters. Its cover read, "The Wake." Inside were pages filled with fragmented thoughts. Sketches of the mansion, symbols that looked occult, and lists of family names, many now crossed out in red ink. Julian trembled as he flipped through it. This isn't just about a family feud. This is something older, deeper. This is personal. Outside, the rain stopped. Dead silence fell over the property, and from the attic came the slow, deliberate creak of footsteps, descending. The mystery deepens. The house holds more than secrets. It remembers sins, and now it wants payment. What truth lies at the top of those stairs, and who will survive to uncover it? Coming soon only on Netflix. The storm had passed, but a different kind of pressure hung in the air. Heavy, unspoken, like breath being held too long. The wind no longer howled, yet the old Thorne estate creaked and groaned as if burdened by everything it had seen and everything it refused to forget. Detective Benoit Blanc stood at the edge of the attic stairs, his silhouette long and still against the faint candlelight. Each step upward echoed like a countdown, building a rhythm of dread. The others remained below, too paralyzed to follow. At the top of the stairs, the attic door was already ajar, swinging softly on its rusted hinges. He pushed it open. A thick, stale heat greeted him, as if the air had been held captive for decades. Dust curled through the beam of his flashlight, and in the far corner of the room, a wooden chair stood facing the wall. Draped over it, a tattered navy blazer still clinging to the faint scent of burnt oak and cologne, and beside it, photos, taped, nailed, even stitched to the wall were hundreds of old photographs. Cameron's childhood, his parents, Elena, Grayson, and Julian in grainy black and white. A family frozen in time, moments stolen from private lives. But one picture stopped Blanc cold. It was dated 1995, two infants twins, labeled in the corner in faded ink, Cameron and Caleb. Caleb, the name that no one had dared to say aloud. And next to it, a note pinned with a rusted nail. I was never dead. I was buried. Blanc turned, but before he could react, a creak from behind him snapped the tension like glass. He whipped around, light landing on the trap door he'd just come through, now closed. Someone had sealed him in. Meanwhile, downstairs, chaos was breaking loose. Julian was pacing the drawing room, his breath short and ragged. He was alive this whole time, and we pretended he didn't exist. Grayson stood frozen by the fire, eyes flicking from the flames to his sister. We didn't pretend. We were told to forget. You know that. No, Elena whispered, almost too quiet to hear. We chose to forget. We were safe, as long as Caleb stayed gone. Then from the hall, a voice echoed. A voice none of them had heard in over 30 years. Soft, calm, cold. Safe from what, Elena? The air disappeared from the room. Monica stepped back. Did anyone else hear that? The voice again. You think you can rewrite history and come out clean? Blanc, still trapped in the attic, was reading the rest of the notebook. It wasn't just a diary. It was a ledger. Lists of lies, betrayals, witness accounts. And at the very center of it all was one horrifying, shocking revelation. Caleb hadn't been sent away because he was dangerous. He had been framed. As children, a fire had broken out in the West Wing. The family blamed Caleb. He was 6. No one died, but the estate burned. The scandal nearly ruined the Thorne legacy, until the parents shipped Caleb off to a mental institution and faked his death. All to preserve their name. Cameron knew. He had written letters never sent. Letters pleading with their parents to bring his brother home. But they never left his desk drawer. Elena had found them and destroyed them. Unexpected betrayal, Blanc murmured, piecing the timeline together. The moment they chose. Legacy over life. Just then, the trapdoor burst open and Monica climbed up. Blanc, we heard a voice. It's him. I think Caleb's inside the house. Back in the foyer, the chandelier began to sway. A cold gust swept through the grand hallway, slamming doors in a crescendo of thunder. And from the gallery, above, a dark figure watched. Silent, motionless. Grayson's voice trembled. Who is that? The figure stepped forward. Not Cameron, but close. Too close. Caleb, Elena whispered, eyes wide with disbelief. You're alive. Caleb's voice was low, almost hollow. No thanks to any of you. His face bore deep scars, physical and emotional, and his eyes burned with a fury that had simmered for decades. He looked at Elena, then Grayson, then Julian, like ghosts of a life he never got to live. I came back, he said, because the truth deserves to be heard, and because Cameron tried to fix what you all broke. What do you mean, tried? Julian's voice cracked. Caleb took a step down the stairs. He didn't die by accident. He found out what really happened. He wanted to expose it. A beat passed. Then another. He was going to tell the world, Caleb said darkly, and someone in this room stopped him. Blanc entered then, breathless. No one leaves this house. All eyes turned toward each other. Suspicion, fear, guilt. Someone, here, Blanc said, stepping into the center of the room. Chose silence again, and now there's blood on your hands. Caleb pointed to a ring of keys he held in his fist. Cameron's. He gave me these before he died. Told me to finish what he couldn't. He dropped them on the floor with a clang. And then, the fire in the hearth roared upward suddenly, unnaturally, as if reacting to the fury in the room. High tension, Blanc muttered. And it's only rising. The power flickered back. Light surged on, but one person was missing. Monica looked around. Where's Grayson? The front door creaked, and outside, in the driveway, Grayson's SUV was speeding away, tires screeching through the gravel, red taillights slicing through the fog. Run, Caleb said flatly. He always did. The silence that followed Grayson's escape was suffocating. The kind of silence that didn't invite peace, it provoked fear. The grand old Thorne estate stood still, like a haunted relic frozen in time, its walls watching, waiting. Outside, thunder rolled low across the hills, distant but threatening, an omen of the rising tension simmering beneath every glance, every breath. Detective Blanc stood in the center of the drawing room, hands clasped behind his back, his eyes fixed on the dying embers in the hearth. The flames, once wild and unpredictable, now flickered low, smoldering like the emotions inside each of the remaining Thorns. We have to go after him, Julian blurted, his voice cracking under the weight of panic. Grayson could be hurt, or worse. Caleb turned, slow and deliberate. He's not hurt, he's running, and we all know what that means. Elena crossed her arms tightly over her chest, her jaw clenched. It means he's scared. Blanc stepped forward, his voice calm but edged. No, Ms. Thorne, it means he has something to hide. Maybe something more dangerous than any of us expected. The words hung heavy in the room. Danger grows. Monica was the first to move. She walked toward the grand staircase, her phone raised. I'll call the police. We need backup. This is getting out of control. No, Blanc said firmly, intercepting her. We keep this quiet for now. If we bring in outsiders, the story will spin out of our hands. And someone's already proven they're willing to kill to keep this buried. A heavy thud above stopped them all in their tracks. Everyone froze. Caleb slowly turned toward the ceiling. There's someone else upstairs. They had all been accounted for. Except, Monica whispered. But Cameron's room has been locked since the funeral. Without a word, they ascended the stairs together, one hesitant footfall at a time. The hallway was darker than before, like the house itself had decided to hide something. Every step closer to the locked bedroom door made the emotional conflict within each of them more palpable. When they reached it, Caleb slid the old key into the lock with shaking hands. The door groaned open. The room hadn't changed. Cameras, books, clothes, records, all still in place undisturbed. But in the corner, someone sat at his writing desk, their back turned to the door. "Elena?" Julian's voice trembled. "Is that?" The figure turned slowly. A woman, late 30s, wild-eyed and pale, stood, her movements jerky, unnatural. Caleb inhaled sharply. "Ava," Monica's brows knitted. "Who?" "My brother's old fiancée," Caleb said, his voice tight. "She was presumed dead 10 years ago. Car accident. Or, that's what we were told." Ava stared at them all like strangers in her home. "I never died," she said simply. They just stopped looking. She walked forward slowly, her bare feet nearly silent on the wooden floor. "Cameron found me. He helped me hide. Said it was the only way to keep me safe." Blank stepped in. "Safe from whom, Ms. Delaney?" Her eyes found Elena's. "From her," Ava whispered. Gasps echoed. Elena's face drained of color. "That's insane," she said, stepping back. "I've never even... You remember? What happened the night of the gala?" Ava cut in. "The argument, the threats. You warned me to stay away from Cameron or you'd ruin us both." Julian shook his head. "Wait, are you saying my sister tried to kill you?" Ava nodded, emotion breaking through her calm. "She nearly did. I crashed because the brakes were cut and Cameron knew. He started investigating. That's why he reopened all the old boxes. Why he brought Caleb back. He was finally going to expose all of you. The mystery unravels." Elena looked to Blanc. "You can't believe her. She's unstable. She's been in hiding for a decade. Who knows what she's been through?" "She's been through the lies you buried," Caleb shot back. "And now they're clawing their way to the surface." Just then, Monica's phone buzzed violently in her pocket. She glanced at it, and her face turned ghost white. "It's Grayson," she whispered. "He sent a voice message." Everyone crowded around as she hit play. His voice crackled through the speaker, rushed and panicked. "Don't trust any of them, especially not Elena. She was the one who found Dad's old letters. She knew everything. She knew about Caleb, about Ava. And Cameron was going to leak it all. I tried to stop him. God, I didn't mean to." The message cut out. "What didn't he mean to do?" Julian asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Looked around the room, her voice suddenly low and deliberate. "He tried to stop Cameron. Maybe he didn't mean to kill him, but he did. Not just him," Blank said, moving toward the window. "Someone wanted to silence Cameron, and they knew Grayson would panic. A well-timed push, a fabricated story, a family who'd believe anything if it meant avoiding scandal." He turned back to them. "Someone orchestrated all of this." Lightning flashed, revealing a figure moving through the garden below. Grayson, flashlight in hand, heading toward the old greenhouse. Caleb clenched his fists. "That's where Dad used to keep the records. Tax forms, legal files, and letters. If Grayson's going there, he's trying to destroy something." Blank grabbed his coat. "Then we follow now." As they made their way downstairs, Ava hesitated in the doorway. "Cameron believed there was a curse on this family," she said quietly. "But it wasn't supernatural. It was truth buried too deep." She looked to Elena. "And it's starting to rot from the inside. What is Grayson trying to destroy in the greenhouse, and will the truth finally come to light? Or will the Thorne legacy claim another life before it does? The danger grows. The tension rises. The mystery is just beginning." Stay tuned for the next chapter, only on Netflix.